One of the things that I use on a regular basis in my own photography, because I do a lot of location stuff, is the Flashbenders. They come basically in 3 flavors. You have the large reflector, you have the small reflector, and you have a bounce card. Now, the bounce card you see me running back there, I have gels underneath those right now. Just a standard gray background, just fabric, and I want to be able to control color and different flow with that, and backlighting for my model, right? These ones I use as my primary. For the purposes of this one, I'm going to show you with a big one, okay? These are cool, very easy to use. What I'll do is actually mount it sideways instead of the way that you'll see in some of the pictures that have been out there. I'll just kind of wrap that right around there, tug this out, and what that does is it gives me the ability to, before I even form it, I can go from vertical shots to horizontal shots, and it's quick, easy. This is the neat thing. I can simply bend to form the light over. Now in a room like this, we can't bounce, right? No way to do it. So this forms the light out towards our subjects. Or one of my favorite ways of doing it is simulating like a bounce umbrella. And the way that I do that is I tilt the light back to me, then push this corner in, and I've basically just created a fully reflected light out to my subject. So, having done that, let me take a couple shots and we'll see what they look like. No, you can stay sit, it's fine. I'm running, I believe I am going to fire, yep, see the blue? Let's see if we can get that in a shot. My camera is in manual. I'm doing it at 125th of a second, compensate for all those espressos I had. And we should have a nice blue. Now, see that? Crisp, beautiful skin tones. A nice blue in the background. Those are very inexpensive little gels, right? Just tucked up underneath the cards. Now, the reason that I have these bounce cards set up like this is so that the light, the blue light from this doesn't get back up onto the model. It's very simple. So we got that real pretty shot like that. Now let's change it up a little bit and do something different. Getting some of the light into the background, but I'm just going to let it peek that light out a little bit so that I edge light my subject, okay? So it's dual use at this point, and I'm still going to let it bleed in a little bit of blue from the right side. And we'll take that shot again. Let's see what we got. You see how we just made that beautifully high key? The blue is filtering down underneath, but it chisels her right out of the shot. And yet the skin tones are still gorgeous. And you'll notice, you know, our subject here has beautiful bone structure in the face, and that dynamic shadow and highlight to shadow fola creates a beautiful image that really accents it. Another thing that I like to do is turn one into a snoot. This is fun. You can take the smaller of the reflectors and you make it into a circle. If you're not clumsy like that. I'll switch it out for the bounce card. Lock this little guy right up on there. Form the rest of that circle. And I'll show you how to get a halo. I like to refer to these as Mother Mary portraits. It's a nice look. Can I have you stand up? I'm going to move your stool right out. Right there. And I'm going to hide this light right down behind our model so that you can't see it from the camera angle. I'm going to aim the light up so that I think it's going to hit right about where her head is. And I'm going to turn this flash off. We're not going to have any blue. We're just going to make that neat little halo look. Now let's take a nice shot and see if I aim that right. Sometimes this is trial and error. When you aim it up and down like that, sometimes you have to go a couple shots just to go a little higher, a little lower, but we'll give her a shot, see how it looks. Let's take a look at what we got. comes up. No, I don't think we recycle one more of them. There we go. That's right where we want to be. High key, high fashion look, nice dynamic to the image, and just knocking that background up. I like that. Is that cool? Another thing that you can do with these, aside from the snoot, the small snoot, a large reflector goes into a snoot position as well. And these do remember your position. This is the good part about it. The style that I used to use, they were a little bit on the floppy side. Excellent light, but they could go side to side. These, with the arms, let's say I was taking a picture and I was using that reflective surface, and I don't want to light on one side of my subject because it's kind of a disturbing background. There's something there I really don't want to see. You can actually push one side in, drop that light out, and control it so that you're not lighting the areas you don't really want to come forward in the image. Get some light bleed over, but where's the eye always attracted to in a photo? The lightest spot, that dynamic. So we then can control where the dynamic is, and even if there's something less than totally desirable in the frame, we'll draw the attention away from it. That is a good thing. You can simulate a strip box, like a strip softbox, just by twisting both sides in and give it a slight tilt this way. We'll give this a shot and see how it looks. And you're going to want that angle just a little bit because, again, we are not going to bounce at all. But we still want that strip look. Now that's an even more refined light, and we lost a little bit on the edging. You notice how not as much of it is making it onto that background? So we're isolating our subject and yet bringing her forward in the image. So let's see. This one also goes into a snoot. And because it's a longer snoot, it is a more refined spot. So it would be about, at this distance, it would be just about half the size of that one. So you're talking a smaller light to a larger light going from the long snoot to the short snoot. The reflector cards have an interesting thing on them as well. You can use them as a gobo because on all of these you're going to find little pieces of Velcro at various spots. So not only is it available as the reflective surface, but you can take the gobo portion, lock it onto those pieces of Velcro, and use it as a way to block the light in any direction that you need to. It's a blackout. That's all there is to really explain about them. They're just light, they're formable, they're reflective. The only other thing to remember is this. We're always talking about keeping our equipment clean, keeping it a neutral color. These are washable. You can take a wet rag and just wipe that down, and that's a good thing.